Hi golfers and welcome. I'm Coach Carolin and today I'm here to demystify the term swinging left. We gotta swing left in the golf swing. And I'm not saying that that is what you should do, but this term is used way too often and people don't know what it means and it actually causes us to miss it and come over the top a lot. So let's break it down. So let's break down the term swing left. And I've heard this so much from my students that they say, oh, my previous coach or pro that I saw just told me to swing left. And what happens, what they interpret as swinging left is swinging left with their whole upper body. And it looks something like this. And you can see how from any top position, really, even if I'm in a good top position up here, that'll cause you to really come over the top, out to in, swing left and create these big slices. And that is what we don't want to do. That is not what swinging left really means. So let's take a step back, look at the golf swing in isolation and understand what it means to swing left. So it's obviously relating and talking about the path of the golf club, right? So this is an in to out path and it's more specifically at impact, right? Into out, so the club is still moving into out, it's moving to the right as it's hitting the golf ball. In the other side, on the opposite, when you're saying swinging left, it means that you're actually swinging left, the path is going negatively left of your target at impact. But if you think about it, a golf swing is an arc, right? So if I have the ball in the middle, let's just assume I have the ball in the middle and I'm just rotating, I'm not even taking a full swing here, I'm just rotating, right? Past the golf ball, as you can see, the path always goes left. Past the golf ball, really, because you are on an arc, it would be really difficult for you to move the path any other way. Like naturally, you go in and then you go in, right? Just again, if you had a hula hoop around you, that would be the circle, that would be the arc that we're moving on. So if you want to swing more left, there's obviously path changes. So slight path changes. Those are 1 to 2 degrees that we're talking about. When people are saying swing left, if you were to go on a TrackMan, if you looked at the pros that swing left, quote unquote, they would be -3, -2 degrees. That is nothing, you guys. We're not trying to swing 20 degrees left. So to have a very small path change, we don't need to feel like we're swinging left with our entire body. In fact, that's going to make the path like -15, -20. Then you have a very left path and it's going to be very difficult for you to match that face up. And even if you do, if you have a square face with a -15 path because your entire body started swinging left from the top, then you're going to have, you know, even a bigger slice because then you have a 15-degree difference between your path and your face. So we don't want to do that. So if you want to feel like you are hitting a little bit more of a fade, if you're struggling with too much of a right to left shot, the ball is starting to the right, it has to be starting to the right, guys. You guys need to start looking at where your ball is starting. If you're starting your ball to the right all the time and it's slinging too far to the left and you don't like to see that big slinger hook, then I recommend you guys simply do this. Feel like you are lower in the actual finish. So what that means, I'm not thinking about left and right, I'm not thinking about anything else, but I am thinking about getting my finish a little bit lower. So exiting my club a little bit lower. That will help change your path by these couple of degrees without you feeling like you have to swing left with your entire body from the top, because that is not what we want to do. So if you want to fight a little bit too much of a draw, too much of a right to left spin shot, make sure you feel like your finish is a little lower. Your hands stay a little bit lower. Almost imagine as if there was something right here, like a little bar or a branch or something, that you have to keep your hands under and around you. Let's hit a shot like this. There you go. Felt like my hands were exiting a little lower and around me, and that was a really kind of straight shot with a touch of a fade at the end. On the opposite side, if you're struggling with a slice because you're doing that whole swinging left with your entire body -15 to the left, and you kind of, working to get rid of this, feel like you're finishing a little bit higher. Don't worry about left or right or swinging to noon or whatever you've heard. Just feel like your hands are just swinging up a little bit higher. You feel like they can actually exit a little bit more up here versus lower under that branch. Feel like you want to almost hit that bar and lift that bar up. And naturally that's going to make your path go a little bit more to the right, those couple of degrees. So that's going to really help you get rid of that slicey contact. So let's hit one like that. I'm going to feel like I'm actually hitting that bar, that imaginary bar, and I'm going to let my hands come through a little bit higher. There you go. Natural little draw. Guys, swinging left, swinging right, we don't have to complicate things because in the end, the golf swing is on an arc. There is slight path differences that we can and want to create, but we want to keep the big path differences like the negative 10s and the positive 10s out of our swing. Why? Because it's very hard to match up a face with a path that's extremely out of whack. So to really make sure you hone in on that, make sure that we don't misunderstand the term of swinging left. Again, I'm reiterating this. We're not at the top thinking swing left with your whole body. We're at the top and all we're thinking about is getting that handle down to the ball, letting those arms come through, shifting our weight nicely and keeping that handle low going through. You're always going to see more of a fade shot. Opposite, if you want to hit a little bit of a draw, like I said, feel like your hands drop down, weight shift, everything's kind of the same. Feel like you're exiting your hands a little bit higher. Guys, the finish, even though it happens after the ball is hit, and I've said this before, it matters. Because it matters in your path. It matters what your path looks like at impact depending on how you feel in the finish. And you know, that's actually super simple. If you just thought about keeping your finish a little bit lower and exiting around you with your handle being a little bit lower, and that helps you create a better ball flight, it doesn't get much simpler than that, right? You don't have to think anything technical. You don't have to worry about it. So that is my tip to you. Really feel at your finish. Feel what you're doing. Adjust based on what ball flight you see. Now, there's a couple of things I want to mention in the downswing. Again, just like we talked about the position right here, which is either a little bit more around you and lower, there's a position that is kind of, you know, halfway down the downswing that I want to touch on in this. If you, again, are struggling with a big slice left to right, I want you to try and feel like your club head halfway down is actually, and you'll see this down the line really well, is actually not outside of your hands. And you can also use this stick as a reference. It's not outside of the stick, not outside of my hands. It's going to feel more in here, right? It's not going to be out here. This is when you want to hit more of a fade. Here you can hit a nice fade and then you keep your handle low and then you're going to create that little left to right shot. But if you want to fight that, you simply feel like that club head stays a little bit behind your hands halfway down. And then you feel that little high finish. Same is true for the opposite. If you want to hit that fade, like I just said, make sure that when you're coming down, you feel like that club head can be a little bit outside the hands, and then you finish low and you have a little fade. So let's hit both of those shots with those feels. I'm going to hit a little draw first for you. This is a little bit more difficult for me because I usually like to hit a fade. So I'm going to swing it back the same way, and then I'm going to feel like my club head stays a little bit behind my hands and then exits a little higher, creating a little baby draw. Here you go, little baby draw. Now we're going to do the same thing with a fade. Feel like that club head comes a little bit outside my hands, coming down, halfway down this way, and then my handle stays low going through. Little fade. And guys, I know you guys are looking at this and thinking, Carolyn, I can't even hit the ball solid. Why would I care where I started? Why would I care about my shape? Guys, you can do this. You can do this. If I told you that you want to throw a ball to the right, you'll take a ball and you'll throw it to the right. Right? If I told you, okay, now throw it to the left. Okay, you'll throw it to the left. You are in much more control of your golf game than you think you are. You just have to take the responsibility for it. And that might not be the answer that everybody wants to hear. I get that. But, you know, I'm not here for good news. I'm here for golf news. So let's make sure we take responsibility. Let's learn and let's put ourselves in these positions and feel and understand where the golf, club head, where the golf club needs to be to create a certain outcome. You guys are good enough for this. I know you are. So next time you're on the range, start with half shots. Start with half shots. Just go in and say, now I want to do waist high to waist high. Feel a little bit more of a draw. Feel a little bit more right to left shot. Waist high, let that club come in a little bit more. Let the hands travel out a little bit more. Feel like they're exiting higher. Now if you want to do waist high, a little fade. Feel like those hands go out a little bit more, as in just the club head. It's not so much the hands. Feel like the club head goes out a little bit more, and then feel like that handle exits lower. Let's try a half shot here. Definitely always start with half shots. See, little draw, small baby draw, perfect. Now we're going to do the same half shots, waist high, waist high. A little bit more club head outside the hands to lower exiting handle. Little fade. Guys, it's not that complicated. Feel yourself into this next time you're on the range. You guys can do this. You guys can take control of your game. Also, super important to start creating awareness of your club head and your club face and your path. So the sooner you take that awareness and are able to connect what the ball flight's doing to what you're doing, the faster you're going to improve. Super proud of you that you guys made it through the session. This one is a tough one. It is a detailed one, but it's a so important one. So I'm proud that you made it to the end. And thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below how you like it, which one feels more comfortable to you. And the thing is, one will feel more comfortable to you, and that should be your shot. That should be your ball flight. You choose one. Golf is this is free. This is just sports, guys. Golf is a game. You choose whatever you like best. You don't have to hit any shots. You don't have to hit it straight. Choose the one feeling that feels more natural to you. Choose the little draw, letting that club in to out a little bit more, or choose the fade, letting the club out to in a little bit more. There's nothing wrong with either one of them. Pros hit both. Good players hit both. But they focus on one. They all have one that they like better. And that's the one they play with. And you should do the same. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Like, subscribe, leave me a comment below. I'm so happy to see you here, and I'll see you in my next video.